Hey everybody, it's Matt Minotti with Dream Vacations, bringing you some highlights from our latest cruise on Allure of the Seas. I took this cruise the first week of March 2024, and on this cruise it was myself and my daughter Georgia, who's 8 years old. Now we've started to do a lot of these 3-night cruises. I find them really enjoyable. You can pack a lot of stuff into your 3 nights. You're in and out, you don't miss a lot of work, your kids won't miss a lot of school. So on this, I'm not going to give you a full nuts and bolts tour of every aspect of the ship, but I am going to give you the highlights of what we did, so you can take a look at what we did in our port stops, what we did on the boat, what we had time to do, and kind of how the flow went. I have to say, anytime I can get on a large ship on a short itinerary, I try to do it. So luckily, Allure of the Seas is doing 3 nights and 4-night cruises for the rest of this year, and then the beginning of 2025, so you certainly have time to jump on and check it out. Again, it's just such a different experience from the smaller ships. I highly recommend it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as quick as possible. And if you need help booking this or any other cruise, just reach out to us. We're always here to help. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy the video.
All right, let's get started and take a look at the Royal Promenade. This is where you will first come onto the ship on boarding day on deck 5. And I have to say, it still looks really impressive. The Oasis-class ships do such a great job with the wow factor. As soon as you get on the ship, you're surrounded by bars, restaurants, shopping, and live music. It's really the hub of the ship and quite impressive. One of my favorites is to drop in the bow and stern for a beer and then grab a seat and do some people watching. It's a great time. If you get hungry, you can jump across the promenade to Sorrento's and grab yourself some pizza. Another highlight is Bolero's, which has a Latin feel, and the best mojitos on the boat. They also have some Latin music there each night. It's a great place to drop in for a cocktail. As you head to the opposite end of the promenade, we have the Champagne Bar, which is a great spot for a drink before dinner and my go-to spot for martinis, so write that one down. As you head back up the promenade, you can see the waterfall area there. That's the Rising Tide Bar. It's actually up on Central Park right now, but it goes up and down throughout the day and definitely worth a ride. So you will definitely be spending a lot of time on the promenade. And sometimes you'll probably forget you're even on a cruise ship. But don't worry about that. The ship has plenty of outdoor spaces to enjoy. As we move to the back of the ship, we have the Boardwalk Neighborhood. This has the feel of Coney Island in New York or the Atlantic City Boardwalk. And this area is unique to the Oasis-class ships and something you won't find on the smaller ships. As you stroll through this area, you'll see the carousel. There's a candy store back here as well, so keep your kids out of there. There's some retail shops. There's also an arcade. Some free advice, make sure you put a limit on your kids' C-Pass card so they don't go in there and run up a bunch of money on your card. There's also the Mexican restaurant. A great hack, if you're a margarita fan, just run into the bar that's in the restaurant. They have the best margaritas on the boat, hands down. You also have Johnny Rockets back here, which is great if you need a quick bite to eat with the kids. Sabre also has a second bar that's out in the middle of the boardwalk. They have great margaritas as well. As you come around to the back of the ship, that's where the Aqua Theater is. They do the nightly shows there, which were actually really good. We enjoyed them this cruise. I think we watched it 2 or 3 times. My kid loved it, and we really enjoyed it. On deck 8, we have the Central Park Neighborhood. This area is unique to the Oasis-class ships. It's a great space. You can see Vintages right there on the left. That's the wine bar. They have some really good sangria in there, so drop in and check that out. You also have Giovanni's, which is a specialty restaurant. We ate there. It was really good. We sat outside. You could hear the musicians, which play right there in that pavilion. It makes for a really nice dinner. Park Cafe is also up here. You can grab food in there throughout the day. They have a really good roast beef sandwich, which I had about 5 of. But there's plants everywhere, and it's just a nice, quiet space up here. You're not going to find it on anything but the Oasis-class ships, and Icon of the Seas has a version as well. This is definitely one of the more adult areas of the ship, so it's really nice to come up here and get away from the craziness. As we head towards the back of the ship, you'll see the Rising Tide bar here on the right. That's where it comes up to Central Park from the Promenade. On the left, you have 150 Central Park. That's a specialty dining restaurant. If we're traveling with adults, I always get the dining package, and we eat there each time we're on the boat. I really enjoy it. As you wrap around the back, you'll come around and see Chops, which is the steakhouse. And that is also one of the specialty restaurants. They have some great outdoor seating. It's another great place to sit, have dinner. You can hear the music usually as well here when the musicians are playing. But Chops is another great spot to eat if you have the specialty dining package. Speaking of the musicians, let me give you a little sample of the guys that were playing during our cruise. They were awesome. All right, let's talk about the important things, the pools. Here's a cruise hack for you. Get on board early on day one, and you'll feel like you have the whole ship to yourself. It's literally my favorite day to spend at the pool, and I do it every time I cruise. Now, the pool decks on the Oasis-class ships are massive, and on these big ships, there are ample pools and hot tubs and seating. So it's not like the smaller ships where you really have to worry too much about it getting overcrowded. There are 4 distinct pool areas on the ship. There's the main pool, which is this one right here that has the tiered seating. There's also the beach pool, which is the one that has the loungers that are kind of submerged in a little bit of water right next to the pool. It's really nice. There's also the sports pool, which is where they do the games. And there's also the kids area and splash zone. This one is super favorite of my 4-year-old. My 8-year-old didn't play in it that much this trip, but it's really great for the younger kids. They'll really enjoy it. Now, don't let all these shots of empty pools fool you. The pool areas do get busy. Not overly busy, but they will get full. So I just wanted to give you a little peek at what it looks like on a busy port day where a lot of folks stay on the boat and just enjoy the pool. Our first stop on this cruise was CocoCay. This is my daughter's 6th visit to CocoCay, so we decided to do the water park. We actually did the water park for the first time last year and really enjoyed it. Prior to that, I could never really see the reason. There's so much to do on CocoCay. But we did it, and we ended up really liking it, so we decided to do it again. This is the wave pool right here. If you get off the boat and get there early like we do, you just pop right in, find a seat up front, and stake it out for the day. The wave pool can get pretty busy later in the day, and the waves do get a lot bigger than that. But it's still a really fun time. Behind the wave pool, there is the sports pool, with all the activities like the rope swing, the little rock wall, and there's a bunch of obstacle courses. This is a favorite of my 8-year-old. She can literally spend hours here, so it's a great place to bring a kid. She really loves it. Now, when it comes to the water slides, my advice is to get off the boat first thing. Go get your spot at the wave pool like we do, and then hit the slides. First thing in the morning, there's really no lines for the slides. So you can do 8, 9, 10 runs before anybody even starts getting there. So before you really hit any lines, you'll run out of energy. About 9 trips up and down those stairs, and I'm done for the day. Back at the wave pool with a cocktail in my hand. That's where that other pool comes in handy. It'll keep the kids busy when you're sick and tired of walking up and down stairs. But the water slides are actually awesome, so it's a really fun time. I highly recommend doing it at least once. I think you'll really enjoy it. We love it. Another great thing to remember about the water park, they have their own snack shack in there, so it never gets too busy. They also have their own bar. I think there's actually 2 bars, so there's never a line for a drink either. So it's a really great place. When CocoCay gets crazy, if you're in here, you really have your own space. It's not too busy, and there's always something to do. So I highly recommend checking it out. Sooner or later, we get sick of the water park, so we head out and walk around CocoCay. We usually head over to the main pool. This place is humongous. It's a giant, giant pool. But there's plenty of seating over here, lots to do. Something to keep in mind and something my daughter loves. There's always some random chickens and big old lizards running around this area. She loves to find them and take their pictures, so keep that in mind. As you come up around the backside, you'll see the swim-up bar. There's always something going on here. It can get crazy. I've been here on some visits, and there's literally 500 people down there. If I'm on an adults cruise, I'm usually one of them. But on this one, it was a kids cruise, so we just gave it a quick look and kept on rolling. One of the biggest questions I get is, hey, where's the best place to sit? Where do you like to sit? So I'll give you my secret spot. Right behind the main pool, right next to the beach club, is the area where the overwater cabanas are. There are some day beds there you can rent, or there's also a lot of just the regular loungers that you can use. But this area is my favorite place to sit. The water here is like chest deep, so you can get in and actually do some swimming. The beach is really nice, a lot of white sand. It's a really great place to come camp out. Right behind you, you have a snack shack, so when the kids are hungry, you can just walk right behind here and get something to eat. There's also a bar right next to that, so you can always get a cocktail pretty quick. So this is my secret squirrel spot that I always walk to if I'm planning on spending a little time at the beach. One last thing to remember, CocoCay is big, so you're going to do a lot of walking, so prepare accordingly. Our second stop on this cruise was Nassau, Bahamas. Now, I know a lot of folks grumble that this is a bad port or they don't like going to this port, but we always have a good time when we stop here. On this trip, we decided to get off the boat and walk up to Margaritaville. They have the Fins Up Water Park, which we had done last year, and we had a pretty good time. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes to walk there. It's an easy walk. You enter on the right side of the Margaritaville building. Just walk in, grab some towels, and then head to your right. Winds around to the main part of the water park. There's a lazy river that runs around the whole property. My daughter has a ball in there, and it'll definitely keep the kids busy. They have a nice beach area, actually. Nice white sand, a lot of loungers. And these loungers are only for folks who are at the hotel or using a day pass. So it doesn't get too crazy. You're not going to have a bunch of random people out there. And there is security out there, so there is no other folks walking around. It's pretty nice. I also found the water to be calm. I was out swimming with my daughter. I never really felt unsafe or felt like the waves were too much. So it's a great place for the kids. As usual, I generally find a spot at the main pool, post up there for the day. There's a couple water slides here as well. The pool has easy access to the lazy river, so you can jump in and out of that easily. Out on the beach, there's plenty of loungers, as I mentioned before. Nice calm water, as I said. They also have some boats and some different activities you can do that are included when you have the day pass. They also have what I call the Flow Rider Junior. My daughter really enjoyed jumping in here on a boogie board and riding some waves. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you are allowed to have a mermaid tail in the pool at Margaritaville. My daughter was very upset that she could not wear it on the ship. They also have a really cool area you can jump off, 15 feet up, jump down into the pool. My daughter loved that. All in all, we really enjoyed our day at Margaritaville. And I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for something easy to do, easy walking distance from the ship. And don't forget, on your walk back to the boat, there are plenty of shopping opportunities. My daughter takes every advantage to stop at tables and booths and anywhere she can to see what she can try to get. Keep in mind also that the port area around the ship has been redone. It's all fenced off, everything's new, it's clean. It's a lot nicer than it used to be. So there is a lot of areas out there to shop and grab a drink or grab some food. You don't necessarily have to go out onto the street where it can get kind of crazy. So keep that in mind. It's nice to just pop off the ship and take a walk around. All right, at the front of the ship on deck 15 is the adults-only Solarium. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at it. I didn't get to spend much time in here during this cruise since I was with my 8-year-old, but it's an awesome space. If I'm with my wife, we are in here a lot. It's a 2-story area, so the upstairs has a full bar, some covered seating. It's a lot quieter back here. On Allure, there's some hot tubs, but no pool. But it's still a great place to come and hang out. The Samba Grill is also the specialty restaurant located in the Solarium. It's kind of a Brazilian steakhouse. I ate there on my last 3-night cruise. It was good. Wasn't my favorite, but it was good. As we head back out to the pool deck, remember on both sides of the Solarium there is the giant overwater hot tub. These can get pretty full, and there's generally some characters in here each cruise, but it's definitely worth checking out. One question I did have coming into this trip was, would there be enough to keep an 8-year-old busy? This is an older Oasis-class ship. It doesn't have the water slides or the giant TV out by the pool. But I have to say, she stayed busy the whole time. The Boardwalk games kept her going. She really enjoyed hopping into the arcade and playing a few games. She's addicted to the claw game now, so we have to live with that. Johnny Rockets was a huge hit. She loved the little shows they would put on in there, and the milkshakes are obviously awesome. If you have the beverage package, which I did, they are included. So we had 5 or 6 for sure. The rock wall was another thing that I really enjoyed. Watching my daughter climb that and get the confidence and then walk around talking about it, it was really a highlight of the trip for me. One of the main highlights for her was the Aqua Show. Now, I've been on a bunch of Oasis-class ships, and honestly, I've really skipped the Aqua Show most of the time. But this trip, I watched it 2 times, and my daughter loved it. She really couldn't get enough of it. Just watching her grab my arm when the guy was up there for the high dive, and she was really concerned what was going to happen. So we really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it for folks traveling with kids. As you can tell, Allure of the Seas was a big hit with us. And just a quick side note, as a 55-year-old dad who traveled extensively without children for many years, taking time to travel with your child one-on-one is truly magical. It provides you the time to focus on them and what's appropriate for their age bracket and sharing what they really want to do on their vacation. It is the best vacation you can take. I hope our little trip inspires you to take a trip with your family or child. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the highlights from our trip. If you did, please hit like. Also, subscribe to our channel because we have a ton of content coming your way in the coming months. Our Royal Caribbean schedule for the rest of 2024, we have the monster ship Icon of the Seas the first week of April. Then we jump on Symphony of the Seas in May. We have the other brand new boat, Utopia of the Seas, in August. Then we finish out the year on Vision of the Seas in November. So you're going to have a ton of fun if you follow along with us. We'll have a ton of content for you. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our Minotti Trave Club blog. Happy travels, y'all.